What is up, guys, and welcome to the Nexus Podcast Star Wars Unlimited Edition. This is episode 2, Attack of the Podcast, and today we are going to be doing a tier list for the Set 2 leaders. And we're going to talk about what Set 1 leaders might be still relevant moving into the next set. But first things first, we're going to do our hello. So how are you doing, Emmy? You went to Star Wars event this week. How was it?
What's up? Yes, I went to a draft yesterday. I ended up playing, who did I play? Grand Moff Tarkin. It was a green, black, and blue kind of control-y deck. Best way to, I think, learn the cards. And I love draft, so it was really good. Won the first game against a Boba. And then I lost the second game against Alea. That was just like...
My princess.
Yeah, insane. And then the third game, we tied. Because in this game, there's no tiebreakers.
At the moment.
We were 1-1, and I would have clearly won. We had to, just end. It was so bad.
That's when you kick your opponent on the shins under the table and say, I win, right? I win, yeah? Yeah.
This is the difference between me and you, Josh. I just said to him, just take the win and then split the prize, and he was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, so it was yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, we split the prize. It's good.
I mean, I'd rather shake people down, but there you go. What about you, Ollie? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to rating some of these Set 2 leaders because it's been a while since I've read some of them, especially the ones earlier revealed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be like a sort of first look tier list, guys, if you're watching. So some of the takes might be a bit out there. Like, I don't think any of us have actually tested Set 2. So the kind of what we're going to do...
Especially Krishiv. Just don't listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, you're going to get the worst takes possible from me.
But I mean, we'll talk about the cards today on like sort of a first view basis, and then maybe further down the series we can like review what we said and see how bad our takes were. But yeah, how about you, Krish? How you doing? You had a nice week?
It's been good. I was in Paris this weekend. Ooh. So I've gained about 10 kilos in butter eating alone. Nice. And then I was at an all-night party on Monday night, so I'm also completely sleep deprived, which means this is the perfect combination of factors: super overfed and super tired, to give you the most amazing hot takes in the world.
That's good to hear. I mean, it's definitely holiday time. Me and Emmy and Ollie are actually off to Milan in about 10 days. We're going to be doing some Battle Spirits over there. I'm going to bring my Star Wars deck so we can maybe play some Star Wars as well. Maybe get some in-person footage down.
Yeah, get Emmy playing some Constructed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. But yeah, without further ado, we got a lot of cards to get through. So we're going to switch to our special screen and start doing this tier list.
Enter the special screen.
Yeah, we're slightly off center here and there.
High production value.
Yeah, but no. So basically, how this is going to work, guys, is I'm going to read out a leader, and then we're going to briefly discuss what we think about the card, what tier it should go in. At the end of that, we'll readjust based on, say we got something that's really nice, and we put it in tier A, but then it's not actually that good. We'll adjust, and then later on in the series, we will come back and review how bad this is. So, starting off from the beginning, I guess, we're going to go with Gar Saxon. He is on the non-deployed side. Each friendly unit, upgraded unit, gets +1/+0. And then when he deploys, his effect is he's a 4/7, deploying on 7 energy. 6 energy, excuse me. Each friendly upgrade unit gets +1/+0 and gains, when defeated, you may return an upgrade that was attached to this unit to its owner's hand. Okay, so the new set does seem very centric to upgrades, especially with the Mandalorians. But I don't know how how much you'd want to lean into it. So, anyone want to give me their instant thoughts for this? How they think it would sit in the meta?
Good.
Yeah. What do you think,
Seems
Chris? You think it's a
It's-
a B or sit in the
Are
middle?
we doing like S, A, B, C, D?
Yeah, S A B C D. Yeah.
So my inclination. Well, okay. Boba Fett stats. Ability that you don't have to do anything about.
Boba Fett stats, but a 10
But
later.
it deploys on 6.
Yeah.
It deploys on 6. So that's obviously a massive downside. But I mean, you build your deck for this, right? So like the way I immediately thought about this when I read it was, oh, you just play everything shielded, and suddenly they come in with one extra attack. So like that's very, very scary. Obviously it synergizes even if something isn't shielded. If things come in with experience tokens, those also count. And then like just upgrades in general. There's a lot of ways I feel like you can build this.
Yeah, if you didn't know, guys, shields and experience points do count as upgrade tokens for these effects. So what would you put it in then? I mean, like I said at the start, the new set does look quite centric to upgrades. So do you think it's going to be an A tier deck? Do you think it's going to be up there in the meta, or do you think it's going to be more of a sort of mid-level tier 2 deck?
If we're only talking about set 2, so we're not thinking about the set 1 decks that are getting upgrades, I would say A. But I think, like, spoilers for later, but if you look at some of the really good decks from set 1 that are getting support in set 2, your Sabines, your Bobas, what have you,
It's looking pretty nice, yeah.
I don't think I can justify putting this in A tier when those decks exist. In like without a lot of testing.
That works for me. So
Yeah.
So B tier. Any other thoughts from you, Ollie, or Emmy?
Yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts when I first saw this leader was that it looks just more like a greedy version of Krennic almost, where Krennic feels like the anti-aggro version of this. This feels more like an anti-control version of Krennic. But you have to obviously deck build around this guy a lot harder, focus a lot more on upgrades. It's very nice that you pointed out about the shields, because it's not something I considered. Having a shielded unit gain an extra attack is going to be huge. But I think outside of that nice synergy, unless you really hard deck build into this guy, I don't think he's all that incredible with what we currently have, at least.
He's definitely not bad, but yeah.
I'd say like some sort of middle of the road is not too
Is
bad.
Sentinel an upgrade as well?
No, that's a key word. Basically.
Yeah, upgrades are only things that are attached, so like the shield or experience tokens, or like any upgrade card.
Okay, because some card says another card gains Sentinel, so
so that's
like some.
Yeah, but it's
just
not,
a keyword.
Yeah,
is not an
it's
upgrade.
not.
So the only reason, because shielded, the keyword shielded means comes in with a shield token. That's the only reason. Like I think it's confusingly. Like I would have also thought the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
confusing.
All right, so moving on to the next leader, then I think it's Kyra, sorry. And her effects are undeployed is action 1 cost tap, deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, then give it a shield token, and then when deployed, it deploys on 5, which is awesome. It's a 0-8 grit, and when deployed, heal all damage from each unit. Then deal damage to each unit equal to half its remaining HP rounded down. So that, for me, instantly, too much math. Like, I don't want to be doing all that math, so I'm instantly going to put it in a low tier. But no, in all reality, the effect doesn't seem great to me. But I don't know, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong, Emmy. What do you think of this card on first look?
Yeah, it's funny because I had the same thought. I guess like I don't have many insights on it. Just trying to think like what other color you could build it with. The one card that comes to mind is I played a little bit of Chewy, and I played it with the Electro stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, just that card came to mind. I personally I wouldn't know where it sits, as I don't have extended knowledge.
Personally, for me, I think this is awful really, really awful.
Yeah.
I mean, on the undeployed side, it reads so badly, and I'm sure there is things that you can do with it, but dealing 2 damage to a unit to give it a shield token seems kind of bad. I mean, in a way, maybe some things that would get one shot anyway, it could be beneficial, but paying 1 for that effect, that seems pretty harsh considering, you know, Luke, the first starter, just pays 1 and gives a shield with no penalty. I don't know. What do you think, Chris? I'd put this in D personally, but what about you guys?
My inclination, like I definitely think it's not as obviously good as anything else. Well, not as a lot of other leaders. For me, like the one big thing I think about is like on the flip turn, overwhelming barrage to board wipe. Like you basically guarantee kill, like because Kira will become a 4/4 because of grit. Um, when you overwhelming barrage, she'll be dealing 6 damage out, and if you've just halved everything's HP, fairly likely that that will board wipe, and then maybe you win the game from there. It seems like a pretty big gimmick. It could be good. Like I could see you taking over control of the game with a load of these grit units that you like are buffing up, giving shields, controlling the board.
That seems a lot of weight to put on on a single card strategy going.
Yeah, it's like draw
you know.
Mirage is not the best. I mean, I'd think C.
Yeah, C seems fair, especially considering we're going into the next leader, which I'm going to do swiftly because time will get away from us with all these. Finn.
So it might be a D.
Yeah, I think it is actually a D. So let me read it out to you guys. So action: defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. And then on attack, you may defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. The most redeeming factor is that it comes out at 5 at 4/6.
It's got very good stats,
which is very decent. But with the
almost
amount,
full effect stats.
Almost. So close.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. It's almost, but that effect is, oh my goodness. I mean,
is it really bad?
Oh, it's better.
It's only really going to be good with some way to stack a bunch of experience tokens, I feel.
Yeah, it's. I think like the combo is like there's a card called Maz Kanata which gains like 1 experience. I think each time you play another card or each time you play another unit or something. And like, yeah, I can see the synergy, but like, geez, man, like you can't compare like a janky thing like that to set 1 Boba Fett with no set 2 upgrades. Probably wipes the floor with like a fully set 2. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's better.
It just doesn't seem good.
I mean, yeah, there's
Wing Leader would go crazy in this deck though.
That's true, but there's better.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that leader anymore. Ray is actually pretty redeemable in comparison. So action 1 costs, give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power, which is kind of nice. And then when deployed, this is where it's cool. She comes out at 6. She's a 2/6 with restore 3. On attack, you may give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power. Now, she can actually do that to herself as she's a 2 power, which is really cool. So she immediately shields up. Well, not immediately. She gives herself a experience token on swing, which will make her a 3/7, which is a very good stat line, to be fair. Not as good as Boba. We'll keep going there.
No, certainly not.
So for me, this looks actually like a deck that could do well. I think it's probably at tier B, in my opinion, and maybe could go up higher. But I don't know what you guys think, comparing it to like Luke and other blue leaders of this nature. Where would you put it?
Restore 3 is really good.
Yeah, restore 3 on a leader is crazy, and the fact that it comes down 1 turn before the 7-drop Luke unit is super nice. It lets you kind of safely get to that point where you stabilize the game.
That is true. You are getting a 6 life swing, which is very powerful. I mean, like I say, I think with more exploration, I think this Ray is a leader that I'm really interested in actually playing myself. I play pretty much strictly only Rebels, and she's definitely one of my favorite reveals so far of all.
I just want to point out R2 is like a 1/1 cost. which you make a
Yeah,
2/5.
I was about to point that exact thing
It's
out.
really good. Like if R2 was a 2-cost 2/5, you would see 4 copies of that card in every deck. So
well,
3 copies, sorry.
surely you can buff it 2 turns in a row with Ray.
Well, exactly.
And
Yeah.
make it up to a 3/6. Yeah,
3/7, 3/6. Sorry, yeah.
I mean, that's wild, actually. I mean, I'd actually potentially put it as a better leader than Gar, to be honest. What do you guys think? Or would you say it's on a sort of even level?
I don't think there's much. I think Ray's probably above Gar. I get the feeling Ray's probably above Gar.
But in the same
I
tier,
think so.
in the same tier at the moment. Obviously, this will potentially change. But yeah, let's get on to some Imperial leaders now. So this is the first leader that features the new keyword skill Smuggle. So it's Hondo Onaka, and the card reads: when non-deployed, when you play a card using Smuggle, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, give an experience token to a unit. And then when deployed on 6 energy, it's a 3/7, so almost Boba. Raid 1, which puts it at Boba, actually, interestingly enough.
One more.
When you play a card using Smuggle, you may give an experience token to a unit, which is any unit, incidentally, not that unit. So I guess you could do it onto himself. So this seems quite strong. I mean, I haven't explored Smuggle as a... It seems slightly gimmicky at the moment. Like, I haven't seen anything that seems totally game-breaking. But Chris, what are you saying about Smuggle and this leader's potential?
The Smuggle keyword's ridiculous. Like I think like in terms of like the power ceiling of a keyword, I think Smuggle's the strongest in potential. Because you're paying.
I was supposed to say it and have you agreeing with me for the first time. Jesus. I love it. I think it's great. That's why
It's really good. No, yeah. And he's got Lando behind him. I think Smuggle keyword's amazing. It's the thing I saw about set 2 that immediately made me go like, oh yeah, this is the game for me. Like they're doing stuff like this. This is super cool. I think fundamentally this leader is going to be as good as the Smuggles. No shit, that's a really obvious thing to say. But like this makes every Smuggle better because you're getting an experience token when you smuggle something in.
I mean, normally when you bring in a new skill as well, it's quite overpowered, right? So do you think it's actually going to be one of the most used skills? I mean, it on paper it looks really good for like. Obviously, I'm a Han player, so being able to charge cards that I can play later on in the game is like really nice for me because often I top deck cards that I then won't be able to use anymore. So it's like it's kind of a nice utility for me in a way. Like it means I'm kind of drawing when I ramp off the top. But I don't know for other decks how useful it's going to be. Because obviously with Smuggle, it comes with a higher cost to play the card.
Well, it depends. Like they've definitely. I mean, they know that if like depending on how much more expensive they make the Smuggle cost, the better the card is, right? Like if the Smuggle cost is only 1 more, then it's significantly better than if the Smuggle cost is 3 more. So I think like it depends how pushed they want to make.
It's interesting that they're putting like random aspects that are off aspect from the card's initial costs
I really
as well.
like that. I mean
that's a nice way of balancing it, kind of forcing people to use certain bases and stuff. But yeah, like I've been floating with this card. What tier do you think it should go in, Ollie? Because obviously you've looked at Smuggle a bit.
Oh.
Also, shall we explain what Smuggle is?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So Smuggle is basically means that you can play it from your energy if you pay the cost, and then when you play it, you replace the energy from the top of your deck. If I'm not mistaken,
you can pay. So and you can use the. So you can use the card itself to pay for its cost. So you pay the cost and then you play it out, and then you replace the resource. So it's not like you have to have 1 more or something.
No, and the resource that gets replaced comes in tapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be insane if it didn't. That'd be so.
No, that'd be crazy. That'd be properly broken.
But no, I mean this card to me, it looks like it's going to have interesting synergy, and being a 3/7 off the bat gives it very nice defensive value. You know, it's not going to just get. It's going to be harder to one-shot than most. So, I don't know. At the moment, I'd say it definitely looks better than Ray and Gar, and I would probably put it in A above those. But what do you think?
I personally, when it comes to smuggle, I find the idea of like a full smuggle deck like this a bit gimmicky almost.
That's fair.
Because I don't think the payoff of getting an experience token is too big to warrant you wanting to play like a smuggle every turn with how overcosted they are in comparison to the card's original costs.
Yeah, that's true. There's no reduction on this leader, right? Either. So
yeah, I feel like, and because it flips at 6, I feel like this deck, this leader on paper would struggle a lot against aggro.
That's fair. So maybe actually I'm overrating it completely, and it would actually go below maybe.
The way that I've looked at smuggle so far is like it's just going to be nice to splash a bunch of smuggle cards into pre-existing decks or other decks in set 2 that come out without necessarily building a deck entirely based on smuggle. At least for this leader is how I look at it.
That's fair.
I think the issue is there's just not enough good smuggles to build around.
Yeah,
so far,
like there's probably like 5 to 10 really solid smuggles, but they're that's spread across
all the
colors so far. We're missing 60 cards in the set, but
and as more sets come on, this is a leader to obviously keep an eye on.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, we'll for now then we'll put it in C actually then.
I think B.
Yeah, B at bottom of B then, and as it needs more time to discover, maybe it will get better, maybe it will get worse. But yeah, so we'll move on now. Doing pretty well here. We're going pretty swiftly, so we're gonna do one of the starter deck leaders now, I believe. Moff Gideon. So his action undeployed is attack with a unit that costs 3 or less. If it's attacking a unit, it gets +1/+0. So it essentially gives raid to cards that are attacking other units. And then deploying on 5, it's a 3/6 with Overwhelm. Each friendly unit that costs 3 or less gets +1/+0 and gains Overwhelm while attacking an enemy unit. So it's interesting. It's like aggro for board control. I haven't looked at the full archetype of the starter deck, but I assume it's sort of built into playing into this leader. What about
fast, right?
Yeah, I mean,
cost 5. It's
and a 3/6. I mean, it's not Boba, but it's okay.
That's going to be like the tagline of the pod.
It's not Boba.
It's not Boba. But
what they do with fat cards is they design them fair, and then they subtract a cost and add a health.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, as a starter deck card, this looks pretty cool, and I think tempo play in this game is really important. Like clearing boards for a lot of decks is the way. Instead of like aggroing pure into the base like Sabine. There's only a few decks that actually generally do that. So, giving raid 1 to everything, as we know, is a strong effect from
Overwhelm
from red 3. And obviously Overwhelm being added on the Awaken side is, that's very, very strong. I don't know how long Moff Gideon will stick around for. I mean, obviously 3/6 is pretty good on 10-4, but yeah, what do you think, Ollie? What's your view on this card, especially considering it's a starter deck card?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really like this card. Like you were saying, tempo play is really important, and if you're able to create a tempo based deck around this leader, it would be really interesting to see a deck that's like focused on clearing board whilst gradually chipping away at you because of the fact that you've got either units that have Overwhelm on base or units that are going to gain Overwhelm when you deploy.
Command's actually a really nice aspect with Imperials, I've noticed as well. There's like, obviously...
Yeah, I mean, Overwhelming Barrage is a card.
Overwhelming Barrage
and Super
itself.
Laser Tech.
Yeah, I mean... So, no, I mean, it seems very decent. It reads better than the cards in B, but I'm going to let Chris decide where this one should sit for now.
It's such a cop-out. I feel like, I mean... I feel like it's B. The thing is, I know the leaders in my mind, which I'm pretty sure are going to be an A, and this just isn't quite as good as those. But it's not bad.
Well, we can adjust. We can adjust at the end, so we can put it in B. Then, would you say it? To me, it reads like it would be stronger than Ray in a meta sort of cool, like at locals or something.
Maybe. But put it in A for now. Let's put it in A for now. I feel like I agree. I mean, I agree with you guys. I think it reads good. It does read really good,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it deploys at 5 fundamentally, so it can't be
but
like
but
that
we'll
bad.
move to something that I know is most definitely up there, and that is the dad bod Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
baby.
You would improve.
Boba Fett.
We're all working on the cosplay.
So it is Boba Fett this time, and he does have Boba Fett stats. So we'll go for the non-deploy first. When you play a unit that has one or more keywords, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, give the friendly unit +1/+0 for a turn. So obviously that's good for stuff with ambush and overwhelm, for example, because you'll get the effect immediately. And then when deployed, each other friendly unit that has one or more keywords gets +1/+0. So, I mean, if you build your deck around keywords, it just seems like it's a very strong choice. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this, Krish? You're a big Boba fan.
Completely agree.
You excited for it?
Yeah. Well, I think Ollie, also quite a Boba enthusiast, would agree with the. When you okay, it comes out a turn later than Boba. That sucks. They clearly didn't want to make it like that good, but
so
that being said,
it's not Boba, but it's Boba.
It's Boba, right? Like, I mean, look, like fundamentally, this card says like just buff your shit, right? Like everything comes in with like you build around this, except keywords is a hell of a lot easier to build around than just upgrades. So like as you said, ambush is a really good one. Overwhelm, Sentinel, like these are all like quite useful keywords.
Sentinel
as well
also works for this.
Sentinel's really strong, actually. Thinking about it, like you don't even have to swing on effect or anything. That's say you whack down Bright Hope and make it a 3/6. That's actually incredibly strong. Like on paper, it's strong, but when you actually put it into perspective of the normal sort of, a lot of units are a 3 damage, so that will take away a lot of 2-for-1s that people get with their units, I think, if deployed at the correct time.
It's the fact, this leader gives immediate impact on keywords like ambush or sentinel, but then also just makes it hard for your opponent to trade when you're on defense, when you've got like shielded units, or it kind of works both ends of the game there.
And the deploy side is crazy. Like the deploy side is absolutely ridiculous.
It's nuts, isn't it? For sure. So Emmy, just kind of off point a little bit, as a player that hasn't delved into the competitive too much, which keywords would you say are the most annoying that you've had to play into or play around?
I think Sentinel is really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sentinel is kind of required for this game to make it so it's not like 5-minute games,
Yeah, I think it's really good because also the way to go around it being Saboteur, like I don't think itself it's a strong keyword, obviously, like it goes around Sentinel, but like it kind of force to like keep in consideration like maybe having some cards with Saboteur. But yeah, I just think like for me Sentinel is a really key keywords, and I think giving it +1/+0, it's super strong. That's why I asked at the beginning like if Sentinel was an upgrade, because I thought like wow, that would make him like much better. But there you go, you have Boba Fett. So
I mean, another thing that's nice with Boba Fett is it has access to U-Wing inherently as well, which is U-Wing's one of the best cards in the game, and it will continue to be good because
that's the search top 7.
Search top 7, play 3 cards that cost within 7, and the more sets that come out,
crazy.
the more cards are going to fit into that, and it ignores aspect as well. So regardless of what aspect you choose to go with Boba, it's going to fit in nicely. But we're going to have to get a bit of a move on. I've put Boba in A because he is good, but there is potentially other leaders that are very good. So the next leader is Hunter, which is an interesting one. It's a long one, so I'm going to try and read it as quickly and as fluently as possible. So action 1 cost rest. Reveal a resource you control. If it shares a name with a friendly unique unit, return the resource to its owner's hand and put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. Pretty confusing. So
read that 4 times.
It comes out on 7 as a 5/8, which is pretty good stats, to be fair, and an overwhelm. And on attack, you may reveal a resource you control. If it shares a name with a friendly unique unit, return the resource to its owner's hand and put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So essentially, what's good about this is you use your energy up. If you say, example, you have layer unit that rests a card on play in your energy, so you swing, after spending the energy, you reveal the spent energy, and then you take it back to your hand and place down an energy untapped, is what I'm kind of figuring how the archetype is. There's a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball like that where you...
I think the resource comes into play tapped.
Oh, it does come into play
it
tapped?
would.
Yeah, I think this is just bad draw a card. Like, bad build around, really hope your deck works. But
that doesn't make sense, because if it's a unique unit on board, then it's not a good draw, because you're essentially just going to charge it next turn again. And
I think
it's
so.
Okay, so we can safely say that this is a D tier.
One thing to flag, and yeah, I think this is probably bad in set 2. The unique just means like the first line of the name. It doesn't mean the subtitle. So when we start getting like in set 7, 8, 9, and we have like 20 different Lukes or something, with different subtitles, where you can play those out all at the same time because they're different name and subtitle combos, but they have the same name and Hunter will work on that, then this is potential. But like, yeah, I think right now it's garbage.
All right.
It's really sad because I'm really hyped to build this deck because it reminds me of Blue Bojack, but yeah, it sucks.
Okay, so moving on to Red, one of my favorite characters from the original Star Wars TCG, Bosk. He was like the most brutal. Him and IG-88 were like the most brutal characters in that game for some reason. So his effects: non-deployed action, deal 1 damage to a unit with a bounty. You may give +1/+0 for the phase. Give it, sorry. So you can do that to your own targets to give it a buff, basically. And then deploying on 5 again, which is awesome. 4/6, good, but not quite Boba good. When you collect a bounty, you may collect that bounty again. Use this ability once each round. So bounty is another new keyword skill, which you basically, it's not super complex, but essentially you use an upgrade on your opponent's cards generally, right? And then you collect the bounty by killing their card, or there's a lot of ways and a lot of play lines for it. But yeah, no, what do you think? Obviously, I keep saying Boba enthusiast, but Boba is a bounty hunter, and that would be something you'd definitely be looking into playing in the next set. So can you tell us a bit about bounty and how impactful it might be in the new meta, Krish?
I think okay. So bounties are like a really cool, interesting keyword, but like fundamentally, okay, this is really good. I think this leader is really, really good. I think like you don't necessarily have to have that many really good bounties for this to be getting value. Like if there's bounties in the like people are going to be playing bounties in the meta that are good, so there doesn't need to be like that many of them. Like an example, like Dr. Evazan is a example, right? It's a 2-cost 3/3 that comes in shielded, but it has a bounty. So Bosk is like a hard counter to that because you ping off the shield, and then the next turn you ping it down to 2, and then like you kill it, and they're having an awful time. So like there don't need to be that many bounties for this leader to be really, really good. And I think equally you don't need to be playing that many in your deck. Like there's like 3 or 4 that are really, really solid that you'd be more than happy to just like, that'll be worth it.
I like the ones which draw you cards.
Yeah,
everyone likes drawing cards in card games.
Yeah, or like the one that's like burn 3 on a base.
Yeah,
like that's really good, right? Like, and if so, for example, right, like if you deploy Bosk, like so you can like set up all these bounties, and then like deploy Bosk and just claim them, right? Like kill and claim.
Yeah.
And when you do that, like for example, you collect it twice, you burn 6 damage to a base. That's very strong. Or you like ramp 2. Or there was one that was like search the top like 10 or something and play a unit. If you do that twice, that's crazy. So like there's a lot of combos here. My big concern is like you don't want to lean into it too much because then you get completely blown out by like stuff that like bouncing or like
removal of
upgrades and stuff. but I think it's going to be really meta relevant, and I think this is good. I don't know what you think, Ollie and Emmy.
I just love the flexibility of the front side being able to be used on both your and your opponent's units to
Agreed.
go a bit more aggressive if you're running bounties yourself, but then also ping down and collect the opponent's bounties is,
Nice bit
flexibility
of
in that sense is absolutely amazing, especially on the front side.
4-6 on 5 is pretty nice.
It's
as
good.
well.
It's very good.
But yeah, Emmy, what do you think, real quick, before we move on to the set poster boy?
I just agree. I just think like it's like super value. Like whatever a card says, like play a card twice or like do something twice.
Yeah.
It's a big thumbs up for me.
Absolutely.
Plus, similar to the Smuggle Guide, the more bounties we get in the future, the better this is going to get.
Yeah, so already starting at an A tier, I put it at, because it's definitely better than Moth. But yeah, no, the poster boy of the set, Kylo Ren.
A tier, A tier, A tier.
We'll put it straight to the top of A tier then, and then I'll quickly read out the effects. So, non-deployed action: discard a card from your hand and give a unit +2/+0 for the phase. And then, when deployed on 4 energy, which is pretty broken, as we know from Sabine, 5/4. This unit gets -1 for each card in your hand to its power. So, no pun intended, but there is a flip side to it coming out early. If you do not rid yourself of cards in hand, it will lose its power buff. However, this seems like a very sort of low to the ground aggro strategy, which we've seen from Sabine can be very, very strong. And deploying on 4 gives a lot of early options for blitz damage to the base. So, Ollie, what do you think of this? I know how much you love aggro in other games and going quite low. Do you think this is going to be a fun card to play in the meta?
So, yeah, as opposed to most aggro strategies, which I don't generally enjoy playing, this is one I'm really excited for, because it reminds me of Discard Warlock from Hearthstone.
Fair enough.
But I think this leader honestly has a lot of pros. The front side effect is crazy.
Yep.
You do have to discard a card, but you're drawing 2 per turn in this game. You have a solid hand size. Even if you go down to 0, you're going to have 2 potential plays next turn.
Well, I'm sure a lot of Kylo players are hoping that we get some cards that synergize with this, because at the moment I think we have one card that has an effect from the drop, which I think is his TIE Fighter.
Yeah, there's the spaceship which has the effect when it's discarded that you can play it from the drop for that turn, I think. But I mean, also just the fact that Smuggle is a mechanic this set means that your hand doesn't matter anywhere near as much as it did before, and it didn't matter too much before, anyways.
As we know from Han Ramp.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you have one card in hand.
The only time that's a problem is if they spark of rebellion you know.
Yeah. And against this deck, you're not going to have the time or the resources to be luxuriously dropping Spark of Rebellions turn after turn while still competing the board.
Chris, what do you think of Kylo? Sorry to rush along. I'm a bit conscious of time at the moment.
I'm going to give you the hottest take. I think this is really, really good. I think this is not. I don't think this will be played aggro long term. I think the way this is going to get played when we're talking about like set 6, 7, 8, 9 is you're going to use the fact that he comes out early to mop up aggro decks to like stabilize. And this is going to be like a recursion, like late game, getting value kind of deck. That is probably a shit take, and I'll sound like a fucking idiot in like 2 years.
I can't wait to basically like crop this little part of the video to replay it before we discuss.
But if I'm right,
if you're right
about this,
the odd chance.
I'd be super down for that. That sounds fun as fuck.
I think it's just very versatile. Like, fundamentally, it can do both, right? Like we saw this with Boba Blue. Like the deck just has game into aggro because it like the leader deploys really early, and you can just stabilize, and then you get to do your stuff. So I don't know. I think either way, this is going to be good. Whether it's aggro, whether it's control. I doubt it's mid range. It'll be one of those other two. But yeah.
Yeah, well,
good.
Exciting to see how it pans out. So we're going to move on to the next red leader. We're going back to the Rebels now, and we're going to talk about the Queen of the leader of the Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, and her action is: if you attacked with a Mandalorian unit this phase, deal 1 damage to a unit. Pretty nice. And then when deployed, 6 energy, 4/7. On attack, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. If you attacked with another Mandalorian unit this phase, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. So pretty strong, really, as far as board clear goes, and it kind of allows you to pressure the base whilst sort of poking at the board. But one or 2 damage, I don't think it seems pretty negligible in the grand scheme of things as far as being a kind of meta pick. I don't know what you guys think of this deck, how it reads and stuff. Obviously, red Mandalorians are good, and it will go well with the Sabine 2-cost unit. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I mean, free chip damage is really good in this game, I feel like. The only stipulation is that it's quite slow with the fact that it effectively costs 2 actions to get to, as well as you already having a threat on board. So it's going to be tied to how good the Mandalorians are. But I really like just the option to have free chip damage. I think it could be really strong.
Do you think it's a bit harsh her coming out at 6, considering her effect?
Yeah,
like it becomes a lot less relevant at turn 5, I think.
It's like a 5/7, right?
So
but still for 6.
It's a 4/7. So
yeah, but on attack you deal damage, so
to a unit,
like virtually.
Yeah, in terms of board clear,
yeah, virtually a
but
5/7.
But Boba's 4/7 and a 5-cost, so
I think the problem is like you can't sit here and evaluate any leader without going, but Boba's above Curve.
I know.
And the problem is
at this
Boba's...
point it is kind of ironic, just like a joke, really, guys. We're just kidding, comparing everything to Boba, but yeah.
But also the thing is like Boba, because if Boba came out on 6, even if Boba was like a 6/9 that came out on 6, like that would be broken. But it comes out on 6. So there's like a different like conversation that you have based around the speed of the game, but fundamentally, like we always look at like, well, Boba does this on turn 5, Sabine does this on like resource 4. So what are you doing to get to resource 6?
In regards to the meta, at least, like if we're talking about sealed or draft or casual play, there's a lot of fun options here. But yeah, we're all 4 of us are competitive players in reality, so that's kind of where our minds go immediately. But yeah, no, going back to Bo-Katan, I think she's kind of middle of the road again with Rey and stuff. She could be really good, she could be really bad. It doesn't blow my mind. But do you guys think that's too much? Do you think she would be a C character, or would you put her in B? Yes,
probably a C, given what we've done. Well, I don't know actually.
I think it's like high C, low B, somewhere in that realm. Yeah,
I could very easily. I have just been very easily convinced it could be C.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it in C, so it looks a bit more balanced here. Next one, right? This is my favorite of the set. I'm gonna say already. So I think it was revealed today or yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The new Han Solo leader. I mean, I love Han in set 1, but this Han, it kind of does like kind of the same thing, but just with different steps. And yeah, it is so good. So, undeployed, action, rest. Play a unit from your hand. It costs 1 less. Deal 2 damage to it. And then on deploy, deploys on 5, 3/6, action. Play a unit from your hand. It costs 1 less. Deal 2 damage to it. Now, with the fact that it's red as well, I mean, that just, beautiful. Like, I can't even tell you how many options there are. Like, the best take I've seen so far in the few days that this leader's been out is building it into a blue vigilance base and using the Wookiees with grit, because you can play out Wookiees for like 1 or 2 that will come out as a 4/2, which seems extremely
Tom's been
strong.
looking at that.
Yeah,
and the cool thing is that you can use the base that's 25. Like, say you go second and you're
shield base.
Yeah, you're worried about your unit getting destroyed because it's going to lose the damage. You just use the shield base if you don't have initiative on turn 1 and give whatever Wookiee you play or whatever card a shield, and then that catches you up immediately, so you're not behind on units. So it already has outs to going first or second. And it just seems like a really fun sort of aggressive deck. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think about this one. Ollie, you look really happy when I mentioned it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really hyped for this card as well. It just looks like it has so much potential. It's not locked to any like specific archetype.
At the moment, it's the best card in the set that we've reviewed, so I'm putting it up there in S. I think it's going to be
in S.
I think it's going to be a menace. I really do.
I don't think it's quite S. No, I think it's good. Don't get me wrong, but
no, I'm with Josh. I've never seen like when you're reducing costs in card games, it's just broken. Like I mean, right. So like one thing I keep thinking of, right, is like if you play out something with shielded here, you just trade out shielded to play a turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Which yeah, I'm totally doing that, right? Like so shielded isn't usually valued at like super highly.
Blue has great as well, right? So
yeah.
You could.
Yeah, blue has grit, which is what we're going back to the Wookiees. The Wookiees generally have grit. The way I think, the reason I think it's so good, right? Because I understand that it's a downside to damage too. However, if you've played Sabine, you know that most of your units get one shot anyway. So why does it make a difference? Like if it has 3 or 2 armor, maybe into trades when people are swinging in. But generally, if people are using removal, it's going to get removed anyway. So on that premise, being able to play a turn ahead damage-wise, it feels pretty strong to me. I think it's going to be side by side with Sabine as one of the aggro menace decks that people, have to be prepared for. That's just
the fact that the action to play units reduced on the flip side is not once per turn is crazy.
Exactly. So
you could just vomit your whole hand if you.
Oh my god! I just realized that it's not once per turn.
Exactly. So you can potentially, like you say, vomit your whole hand out if you've got like
that is crazy.
Like one cost
as many R2s and C3Ps as you can to just keep refilling.
Yeah, R2 doesn't even cost anything as well. Amazingly.
Well, in yellow there's a 2/3 ship with a bounty to like draw a card, but like. I don't care if you draw a card. I've just put out like two attack units on turn 1. You're cooked, right?
Yeah,
I
think I potentially like it might not pan out the way I'm thinking it will, but damn, it looks so.
No, it is.
So
it is actually really strong.
I don't think this is as good as Boba is in set 1, but I think from what we've seen in set 2,
it's not Boba.
This is the Boba of set 2. Like it's very versatile. It's really strong. Good color combo, good stats. Not Boba stats, but good stats. Like I would have said I would have put this at top of A. I can see S. I can put it in S.
I mean,
why not?
I mean, we can change it at the end if we find something that we think. But if we scale it as far as this set goes, I think it's definitely one to be.
Yeah, my main logic for not putting it in S was Boba exists. But if we're thinking like just in the realm of this set,
I think
I'm okay with it in S. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a menace. But like I said, we could be wrong about these, and I do look forward to reviewing it and me being like, okay, no one can play that deck. Later on in time, but let's see. So we've got 5 more leaders, and we're doing all right for time, but we're going to have to turbo through these ones. So we'll start off. Cad Bane. When you play an Underworld card, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, choose an opponent's unit they control, deal 1 damage to it, and then on 6 energy, it comes out as a 2/8, which is massive, with Raid 2, so it's a 4/8 on attack. When you play an Underworld card, you may choose an opponent. They choose a unit they control and deal 2 damage to it. Use this ability only once each round. So this is actually incredibly strong, considering how the strength of Underworld units in set 1 alone, let alone what's coming in set 2.
And especially in yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Yellow Imperial. Very, very strong.
Can I just say what everyone's thinking?
Yeah.
Really good, not Boba.
I like it actually.
That's very fair. I mean, I think it's honestly going to be a crazy annoying card to deal with. It's going to be one of those,
I like it.
especially with how powerful yellow and double yellow has become with set 2. I think this is definitely up there. Like it's going to be a deck that will be used by players. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's a B tier or an A tier deck?
A tier.
I like A tier for this.
Yeah, I
It's-
agree.
It's
I think
like
it,
the
I think
Mandalorian one that we looked at, but without all of the issues that we were mentioning, where it was so slow and everything.
yeah, I think it's above Bosk as well. Like it's in between Bosk and Dad Bod Bova. For
It's
me.
in yellow. Fundamentally, that means it can't be like lower than A tier. Like,
Yeah.
Yellow is just so broken.
All right, so talking of yellow, we're going to do the other yellow Imperial leader, Dr. Afra. So yeah, this leader undeployed. When the regroup phase starts, discard a card from your deck. And then it flips on 5 as a 2/5, while there are 5 or more different costs among cards in your discard pile. This unit gets +3/+0. So it becomes a 5/5 if there's 5 different cost cards. And then when deployed, choose 3 cards in your discard pile with different names. If you do, return one of them at random to your hand. So
Why does it have to be at random? I think that's what it kind of made me like think, it's actually not that it's amazing,
well,
but
drawing a card on deploy is pretty nice to be.
And 5/5 is big.
Quite
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
5/5
This is
draw
one of the leaders I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it also can work with the Kylo Ren's ship, because that doesn't specify that it has to be discarded from hand specifically.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's.
I think there's a
that's
lot of
true.
potential
Mm.
as they move forward. I mean, I think you are always playing yellow as your like realistically you're probably playing yellow in Kylo as your off color. So I'm not surprised that these two decks will probably synergize quite a lot. It might not be great now, but like not great means like B.
Do you think it's
Yeah,
stronger
and
than?
as we get more discard
Do you think
stuff
it's stronger
that
than
can play-
Kylo, or do you think it's like
No.
it's below Kylo at the
No.
moment? Yeah,
Yeah.
more of a sort of. I mean, name a few underworld units real quick that I'm thinking like Crafty Smuggler is a really nice turn 1 underworld unit that people play that could synergize here. I don't really know any others off the top of my head because I don't play Imperials much, but
I think you don't need to play underworlds with this leader. I think you just like. I think this is like this synergizes quite a lot. I feel like this will be like a control deck kind of vibe, right? Like because when you're getting a card back, that's fundamentally really really good. So
Yeah.
like my inclination is bottom of A. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think bottom of A is decent.
I've put it at top of B, but I'll put it at bottom of A. We've been
We're
quite
being
generous.
persuaded.
We've been quite generous here. We've got 5 in A at the moment, but we've got 3 more leaders to talk about, and 1 which we can't actually rank currently, annoyingly, because it hasn't been released yet. But we'll go to the next one, which is one that I think looks really strong and has a lot of potential, and that is Fennec Shand. With an action of 1 cost tap, play a unit that costs 4 or less from your hand, paying its cost, and give it ambush for the phase. After you play the unit, it may ready and attack an enemy unit. And when flipped, it flips on 5. It's a 4/4 Saboteur, which is really nice, I think. And then play a unit that costs 4 or less from your hand, paying its cost, and give it ambush as an action. That has no cost either. So is that something you can just do at will? I assume as again like
As long as you obviously
as long
pay
as you
the
got
cost
the
for the
energy,
unit.
yeah. So I mean that can be pretty good. There are some decent 1 costs that you could use and stuff if you wanted to use that effect.
The card I keep thinking about. Sorry, go on.
No, go for it.
The card I keep thinking about is Cobb Vanth, like the one that's like when defeated, search your top 10. You discard a 2 cost, then you can play that for free.
Yeah.
Oh, the piloted shredder. Yeah.
So like you just get like so much value out of that. This seems good.
Yeah, I think it seems like it has potential to be really cool. I think it is ones that's going to take some time to discover. Maybe kind of like the smuggle one with Raid 1. So I think it's kind of middle of the road. It could be bad, it could be good. But yeah, I mean,
we already know ECL is a great card. So
yeah, and
having it on a leader, even if it costs 1, is still
it's pretty
nice.
Pretty decent. So 2 more to go. Emmy, you have him as your backdrop, so I'm gonna ask you why and bring him out. Good old Lando Calrissian. Not my Lando from the old movies, but still, it is Lando. With impeccable taste, I will add. His action is rest. Play a card using Smuggle. It costs 2 less. and defeat a resource you own and control. And
Yes.
then on flip, he flips on 4, which, as we know, is awesome. 2/5 action. Play a card using smuggle. It costs 2 less, and defeat a resource you own and control. So the same effect when flipped. It's just an early kind of flip. So, what attracts you to this leader then, Emmy?
2 reasons. One is Donald Glover, so big up. And second, I'm excited about this other card that is called Tech, that says each friendly resource gains smuggle. The gained smuggle cost is that card's cost +2 and its aspect icons, which essentially says you're playing with all the cards in your hand and in your resources fund, as far as I understand, right?
Yeah, no,
And
that is right.
And if Tech is down, you can smuggle at the same cost, which is insane. Obviously, you de-ramp 1, as far as I understand, but maybe you play Lando Green. There's also a Chewbacca with smuggle that would end up costing less if you smuggle it with Lando, but it gains a different aspect, which is weird. So yeah, I love it. I love smuggle as a mechanic, and I think as soon as I've seen Lando and that Tech card, I was like, that's epic. That's so much fun.
So, Chris, shatter Emmy's dreams. Realistically, what do you think of this card as a meta card?
There's so many not good smuggles.
I know it's pretty bad,
but it makes everything smuggle with that Tech card that you were talking about. So that is an interesting.
But I mean, like at that point, I'm just paying the cost, but I'm losing a resource. I think, like, again, I mean, this is an aggro deck, right? Like, clearly, you know, because once your opponent's able to stabilize, like, your value here is like, oh, I'm cheating out like 5 and 6 costs for 4 and for 3. And there's not that many of those that are good with smuggle right now. Like, cheating out, don't get me wrong, on the flip turn, going cool, Lando, cool, Millennium Falcon, like that's a 2/5 and a 5/5. Like, that's quite a lot of stats on the board. And then you need to kind of like keep doing stuff on that level, to like try and swing the game. But
so stop buttering him up. Where would you put it, Chris?
E, I think.
In D, what, below Finn?
C.
Yeah.
C.
I heard you. I was just. But yeah, so put in C. So
There's potential.
Sorry, Emmy. Maybe in draft it would do well.
I'll show you.
Yeah. Oh, that's fighting talk. I like it.
Emmy's got that clipped already.
Yeah. Now Emmy has to get this
on cooking.
Get this to a regional.
Update Lando deck coming soon.
Yeah. Well, I ruined the screen. I'm a horrible man. Absolutely.
We have the last one.
Yeah, so we are down to the last, which I actually really like the look of. Mandalorian. It's an annoying battle trick, right? Resting a unit is so annoying in any game. So undeployed. When you play an upgrade, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust an enemy unit that with 4 or less HP. And then when it's deployed, 6 cost, 4/7. When you play an upgrade, you may exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less remaining HP. And some of the upgrades for Mandalorians in this next set, oh baby, let me tell you, pretty good. That saber is gonna break hearts, let's say. So yeah, I mean, this is the other starter deck leader, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it definitely is. I think it's pretty good. I mean, obviously, having to play something to use effect means that it's not super strong, because it's quite conditional.
It's definitely a very builder leader.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that in mind, I think there are definitely better options, Cunning and Rebel, Han Leader, for example.
I mean, the fact that it doesn't cost an action to get the rest or anything helps quite a lot.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think I mean Han is a very different deck. So I mean Han does its own thing, but I think this is really good. I mean, for example, you deploy it, you snapshot reflexes. Now he's a 5/8, and you just tap down like a 6 cost, and you've just attacked. That's quite a lot. That's pretty good.
So do you think building into upgrades could be beneficial? Because to me, that doesn't seem like a very strong strategy, especially considering how cheap and easy hate is for upgrades. Like power failure is a card, 1 cost, remove all upgrades. Do you want to fill your deck up with upgrades? I mean, I don't know. That's something I wouldn't want to see. Even when
gotta be careful.
Even when I put,
I
even when I
have
put 1 or 2 upgrade cards in the current decks I build, sometimes it feels pretty bad to see them, and I'm often just charging them anyway. So
I don't think you have to put too many upgrades to make this leader really work. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is dropping Traitorous, taking a guy and resting another guy, and then trading in. Just seems
that's pretty nice.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm thinking that's genuinely broken: turn 1 Grogu, turn 2 slap a Jedi lightsaber on Grogu.
Yeah,
Grogu
that's
is now
exciting.
3/8. You just tap down a 4 HP unit, and then Grogu is force traded. So now you're giving -2/-2. So now they also have to deal with a 3/8, right? That's actually kind of hard. I don't yeah, okay, Power of the Dark Side. There are tools, but it's not that easy. I think there might be some game in this.
I think that's definitely going to be fun, and I can't wait to use Grogu with a lightsaber. That is definitely an ambition for me. But
it's a slow strategy because of the upgrade mechanic being slow, but the leader helps you get there by resting.
I suppose
the aggro deck stuff.
I suppose building into vigilance could be quite strong with this. Using the Jedis and the lightsabers, because that seems a very strong strategy in like Sharut and stuff like that. So I don't get me wrong. I think it could be really good. I just think it's not going to be top tier. Maybe it will be.
I don't on B.
Yeah, I was kind of floating over B. It seems like it's kind of on Ray's level. And it could go either way. It could be really good. It could be really bad. But yeah, that almost completes our list. We do have one that's not on there, which is unannounced yet, and that is Jabba.
S tier.
S tier,
yeah,
easily.
Z tier. No way they waited this long.
What do we know? What do we know about Jabba so far?
12 HP, green and black. S tier.
Yeah,
he's gonna have Sentinel, and he's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
he's gonna be some double cunning, double command nonsense leader.
He's gonna have no front side effect, no back side effect. Sentinel grit, 12 health.
Yeah, that would be.
And they'll deploy on 3.
That would be disgusting. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So Jabba, we'll put him in S as a kind of, why not sort of thing. We are pretty much at the end of time here. But quickly, just for some context, where would you put the Boba leader here? Obviously, S tier at the top. I don't think there's any argument there from set 1. What about Han? Would you put Han in S tier above all these other leaders as well? Would you still put it there, or would you put it into A? Because it seems stronger than Kylo and Boba, in my opinion. But
I think
as a generic effect, considering the new cards coming out, being able to play a turn ahead, it just seems really powerful to me. I mean,
it's good. Smuggle definitely really helps Han.
Yeah. I think Han is a leader that will get better as time goes on as well, because there'll be better big things you can play earlier.
Yeah, so I'd probably put Han above Kylo and stuff. What about Sabine? Would you put Sabine would go into S automatically as well? Yeah. Any other honourable mentions from set 1? How do you think Iden and stuff like that's going to fare, and Palpatine and stuff? Palpatine looks quite good moving into.
I think Palpatine, yeah. Well, Iden and Krennic are 2 sides of the same coin, right? It's kind of the same deck. You just build for either more control or more aggro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think those kind of decks would sit in tier A, like where they kind of sit now? They're not going to go down in strength.
Yeah,
I imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the pretty much anything that was seeing competitive play in set 1, it's just getting better. you're not like they're all getting new and like very good cards.
Yeah, like the power creep's there, but it's not really on the leaders. It's more on
It's-
the cards within the sets.
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of plugging holes, right? Like, I mean, very briefly, like, I looked at Sabine and like it just got 3 new cards that literally solved the issues that it had, right? Like,
yeah, it's gonna
Steam,
be.
and now you don't run out of Steam.
It's gonna be violent.
like,
It's gonna be violent.
For example, yeah.
So do we think this this tier list is good then for the set 2 cards? So we got Han Red being the only potential S tier. Remember, guys, this is all potential and just like first look opinion. This this will change, and we will revisit this after the meta's landed. So in A we have 6 cards. We have Kylo, Boba, Bosk. Cad and the Doctor. And then in B we have the Mandalorian, Rey, we have Gar, we have Hondo, and we have Fennec. And then in C we have Lando, we have Bo, and we have Kira. And then finally in D, Finn and Hunter. Oh my god, Finn's so bad. Hunter's actually below Finn at the moment, but I've put Finn right to the bottom because such a bad card. What were they thinking? But yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that, guys. Would you move anything there, or do you think that's all looking okay?
I think that's good.
We'll lock
good,
that
yeah.
in until later in the season then.
We can see just how badly we've done at the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm going to go back to our board screen, and we will do question time on the round. Does anyone have a quick fire question that they can give to everyone in regards to anything, really? It doesn't have to even be Star Wars related. I'm going to put Krish on the spot. Because...
what is your favorite? I'm going to make the Star Wars related. What is your favorite movie?
Ooh, this is going
From Star Wars.
to be easy for Ollie because he doesn't like. I don't think he's actually even watched them. But for me, mine's Return of the Jedi. Just from the nostalgia, the Ewoks, man. When I was a kid, it's like that's what I was like. I want to be an Ewok when I grow up. And I still do.
And that came true.
I see. Yeah, it's true. Well, I'm more of a Chewbacca at this point, but no. If when they bring an Ewok deck out from Jedi, I mean, I'm going to be all over that Chewbacca deck with Ewok minions. It's going to be amazing.
Are the Ewoks the little short guys?
Yeah, they're the little bears. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah. What about you, Emmy? What's your favorite movie of? I guess all of the Star Wars universe. You can be controversial and say something like the Han Solo young movie.
Yeah, no. I think I mean, I would have said Return of the Jedi as well, to be honest.
Yes, because you're a man of taste. That's what.
But I want to pick
man over
something
30.
else. Yeah.
Shush, my back's hurting.
You know, I don't know. Actually, I haven't seen Rogue One. I need to watch that.
Rogue One's actually
good.
really good. Yeah, I love that.
Is it pretty good?
That's
I have to say,
that's
like,
the movie that Sharut's from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good one for sure.
I'll get everyone mad at me, but like, I don't think The Last Jedi was bad. I think it was pretty good.
Okay,
Good
thanks.
Good take from Emmy.
Thanks, guys,
Emmy.
for joining us on the podcast. We're now cancelled. This will be the last. No, that's the fair take. It's okay, but it's. I don't know.
It's a
Episode
good
9,
movie. It's not. You can tell me
fantastic.
it's not a good Star Wars movie, but it's a good movie.
It's
I like
it's
it.
okay.
It was-
It's okay.
Episode 8 did nothing wrong. It was episode 9's fault.
What about you, Ollie? What's your favorite, let's say, Star Wars thing that you've watched so far? Because I know you've watched a little bits here and there.
My favorite one has to be the one where Darth Maul is gambling, just spamming slot machines over and over. Love that one.
I think that was the Clone Wars season 4, actually.
Yeah. The gambling wars.
Yeah, can't wait for my
The
Darth Maul
gambling
leader so
one.
I can play slot machines as well.
The gambling one. Yeah.
All right, so yeah. No, that is a hilarious meme. But we will be done for today now, guys. We will have an episode coming up next week. We're going to get all the reveals of the cards. So what we'll do, I think next week we'll do something like we'll all pick 3 cards to bring to the table and discuss and say these cards are really good, or why have you made this card, Fantasy Flight? Please stop making cards that are so broken. And yeah, no, it's exciting to see. It's exciting to get these reveals. Probably 60 more cards or so in the next week. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We will have another gameplay video coming out for you this week. Grand Inquisitor versus Sabine. Me and Ollie doing a bit more commentary. And yeah, so join us for that, and then we'll see you next week for episode 3. And yeah, thank you very much. Say bye.
Ciao.
Yep.